In the spirit of the 1960s, we remember George Washington at the heart of the Revolutionary War, leading his troops through the bitter cold at Valley Forge, crossing the icy Delaware River, and rallying his men at key battles like Trenton and Yorktown. Through hardship and hope, his leadership united a nation, bringing families together in celebration with hugs, handshakes, and joyful dancing for freedom. As the echoes of victory fade, George Washington's thoughts drift back to a simpler time, a sunlit afternoon of his childhood. He sees himself, small and earnest, standing beside a freshly fallen cherry tree, hatchet in hand. His father's stern gaze meets his own, yet young George, with unwavering honesty, admits his deed. A gentle smile graces Washington's face in the present. That moment, though humble, shaped his character, teaching him that truth, even when difficult, is the root of trust. In the quiet of remembrance, he cherishes the lesson that great leaders are not just forged on battlefields, but in the honesty of everyday choices. Amidst the chaos of battle, George Washington sits tall on his horse, commanding a clear view of the battlefield. His troops, determined and courageous, clash with British forces on the ground below. Cannon smoke fills the air as Washington's steady presence inspires his men to press forward. The thunder of hooves and the cries of soldiers echo across the field, a testament to the struggle for freedom. Through the turmoil, Washington's leadership shines, guiding his army with unwavering resolve toward victory. Inside a grand colonial hall, golden candlelight flickers across polished floors. George Washington, momentarily freed from the burdens of war, shares a gentle waltz with his beloved wife, Martha. Their faces glow with rare joy, laughter mingling with the soft strains of a string quartet. Around them, officers and guests twirl, savoring a fleeting respite from conflict. But suddenly the music falters. The heavy doors crash open. British troops storm in, muskets raised, boots thundering across the floor, gasps ripple through the crowd. Washington instinctively shields Martha, his calm face now taut with urgency. The celebration dissolves into chaos, the dance is over. Yet even as fear surges, Washington's presence anchors the room, a reminder that hope and resolve endure, even when peace is shattered. Amidst the smoke and thunder of musket fire, Washington and his weary troops clash once more with the relentless British. Blades flash and shouts echo, the fate of the cause hanging by a thread. Then, from the shadowed edge of the forest, a swift and commanding presence surges forth. Native American warriors, fierce and resolute, join the fray. Their arrival is a whirlwind, catching the British off guard. Startled, the redcoats break formation, fleeing in panic toward the icy waters of a nearby lake. Some stumble and fall, their bright uniforms swallowed by the cold, splashing chaos. In that moment, Washington and his men pause, awe and gratitude etched on their faces. The alliance, unexpected yet powerful, has turned the tide, reminding all that hope can rise from the most unlikely of places. Inside the Grand Mansion, George Washington once again shares a joyful dance with his beloved wife, Martha. The music swells, laughter fills the air, and for a moment all is peaceful. Suddenly the doors burst open. This time British police storm in, their uniforms crisp and their intentions clear. They move to arrest Washington, but with a quick glance and a reassuring squeeze of Martha's hand, he dashes away, weaving through startled guests. The crowd parts as Washington sprints out of the mansion, the British police in hot pursuit. His escape is swift and daring, leaving the officers bewildered and the guests cheering for their hero's freedom. The world outside the mansion is transformed. Gone is the warmth and laughter replaced by a frozen battlefield. George Washington is thrust back into the thick of battle, snowflakes swirling around him like ghosts of hope and fear. The ground is shrouded in white, muffling the thunder of distant cannon fire as icy wind cuts through the ranks. Suddenly, from the blinding haze, British troops emerge, their red coats vivid against the wintry gloom. The silence shatters, muskets crack, horses rear and plunge. The sharp scent of gunpowder fills the air as chaos erupts across the field. But Washington stands resolute. His presence is a beacon, rallying his men to his side. With fierce determination, he charges forward, his sword raised high, leading the charge through the storm. The British falter under the onslaught. Soldiers tumble from their horses, vanishing into drifts of snow as the tide of battle, once uncertain, surges toward freedom once more. In the heart of winter, with liberty on the line, Washington's courage turns the coldest night into a spark of hope for a nation yet to be born. Inside the candlelit war room, the Founding Fathers gather around a battered wooden table. Their faces are etched with exhaustion, but their eyes burn with purpose. Maps and documents are strewn before them, the ink barely dry on the future they hope to forge. The air crackles with debate, some voices call for the order and stability of a king, others warn of tyranny. As the discussion swells, George Washington rises. His figure is calm, commanding, a steadying force amid the uncertainty. Silence falls as he speaks, his words deliberate, unwavering. "We will not have a king," Washington declares, his voice echoing in the dim chamber. "We will have a president, a leader chosen by the people, for the people. This nation will not be ruled by the will of one, but guided by the hopes of many." The room grows quiet, the weight of his vision settling over them. One by one, the founding fathers nod in agreement, the spark of a new government igniting in their hearts. In that moment, the dream of a republic, born from hardship and hope, takes its first breath, forever changing the course of history. In the biting cold of winter, George Washington dismounts from his weary horse, his boots crunching through the deep snow. Before him, the land is eerily silent, blanketed in white. As he moves forward, his eyes fall upon the charred remains of a Native American village, homes reduced to smoldering ruins, the aftermath of a brutal attack. The devastation is unmistakable, the work of Spanish forces who swept through, leaving only sorrow in their wake. Washington stands in solemn silence, the weight of loss heavy on his shoulders as the wind carries the memory of a people and a place forever changed by conflict. As the snows of winter finally recede and the wounds of a long, bitter conflict begin to heal, a new chapter dawns for the fledgling nation. In a grand hall, illuminated by the golden light of morning, leaders gather around a document that will shape history. With a steady hand, George Washington signs the congratulation, an official recognition of victory, unity, and hope. The ink dries as the nation takes its first breath of peace. The camera lingers on the signed parchment, a symbol of sacrifice and resilience. Outside, bells ring and distant cheers echo across the land, signaling the end of hardship and the beginning of something greater. The journey has been long and the cost immense, but out of the ashes of winter, a country is born. As the final note fades, the screen gently dissolves to black, leaving behind the promise of a future forged by courage, remembrance, and the enduring spirit of a people united.